They should not stand in the wisdom of man, but stand in the power of God. They should not stand in the wisdom of man, but stand in the power of God.
Hi, I'm Brett from Wellington. I just wanted to share a quick thought with you about David and Goliath, one of the most quoted, popular and well-read stories in the Bible. Even in normal society, everyone talks about David versus Goliath. You know, when it's talking about the little guy against the big guy, it's always, David and Goliath is always quoted. And I contend that it's misquoted, because when you actually look at the story, the reason David did what he did and went out and fought Goliath was because he had an absolute confidence in God, which is, seems to be obvious. But here was a man who went out to the battle, and he was surprised. He was bemused that the army of God, or the army of Israel, was sitting back and in fear and wondering what to do. And he was sort of like, what should be done for the man who kills this Philistine? And who is this uncircumcised Philistine that he should defy the armies of the living God? And that was David's approach. He was like, hold on, what's going on here? Who is this uncircumcised Philistine that he should defy the armies of the living God? He was, in his mind, he wasn't going, oh, well, this is going to be a great story of a little guy beating the big guy. He was out there going, who is this little guy, Goliath, who is fighting the big guy, God? Like, who is this little man that he should defy the armies of the living God? Like a God who is living, a God who is all-powerful. Like, he's like quite surprised going, this guy is going to be toast. No one can stand before the armies of God. No one can stand before God. And so he was like, okay, let me go. Let me get out there. And it wasn't little guy versus big guy. It was big guy versus ginormous, incredible, all-consuming, awful, awesome God. And that's why David went out. That's why David was confident. That's why David went out with a sling and with a few stones and just went, look, I'll go out and fling some stuff at this guy, but I know it is going to be God that he's fighting. And for all of us, it's never little guy against big problem, little person against big issue in your life. It's always big issue in your life against absolutely massive, ginormous, loving, all-consuming God who is going to fight your battles for you. And for us, it's this incredible promise. And we should never look like we're outnumbered or that we have to really stretch our faith, because the armies of Israel were sitting behind those battle lines, fearful because they'd lost that vision. That here was a giant, in Goliath, who appeared bigger than them, bigger than their ability. And so they shrunk back. Whereas David went in and went, hold on. You got this all wrong. This is little big guy Goliath versus a much bigger guy called God. Let's go out and fight. And he wasn't tricking himself. He wasn't trying to convince himself. He was absolutely sure in his faith. And that's why he went out to battle. And I think, we need to remind ourselves that, constantly, that as we go into life and as we are fighting the fight of faith, it is, we go in with our little stones and we go in with our sling, but that's not the hope we have. That's just us going into battle. But we're going in on behalf of a much more awesome, larger God who's going to fight our battles for us. And I think it's a great flip. So next time you read David, next time someone says, oh, it's the classic David versus Goliath, it's the classic, awesome, incredible, representative of a mighty, ginormous, all-powerful, all-seeing, conquering God against a little guy Goliath. And that's how we should view it, just as David did. Amen.
Wisdom of man, but